Wholesale houses part-time to fire your full-time boss. Hey, this is Ty, aka the Flip Man. Today's video, as I said, is wholesaling houses part-time with the intent on firing your full-time boss or quitting your job. Now, this video here is basically going to go into detail about how you can do this if you already have your source of income through a job or whatever. And for most people, that's going to be the situation. Now, obviously, if you have more time available to do it, then, hey, you can just basically just double what I say or however you want to manage your time, which that's what this is going to be all about, is time management. Okay, so wholesale houses part-time to fire your full-time boss. Please subscribe to my channel, turn on the notifications so you are alerted whenever I upload new videos and when I go live on YouTube. And also you will be alerted when my live Flippinars start on Thursdays, which you can just show up at Flippinars.com. You can sign up there also to get an alert for the live Flippinars, where I have a different topic each week. I have a question and answering period, and you're able to allow me to analyze potential deals that you have. So on to this particular video tutorial. Wholesale houses part-time to fire your full-time boss. With any of this stuff, it's always going to start with where and how you gain your actual knowledge. Okay, it's always going to start there, whether you're going to sign up for my information, which obviously I highly recommend, or simply taking advantage of my 200+ free videos on my YouTube channel without ever paying me. But some people prefer to fast forward things and to have an actual coach to be able to tap into my 14+ years of ongoing experience at the date of this video, and have someone, hey, just to bounce things off for it. Hey, what do I do next? What do I do next? You know, step by step. So the first thing is to acquire the knowledge. And again, there are going to be a lot of sources out there. I have people that come to me and they're in the middle of an actual course or something, or just went through a seminar or something. Then they want me to answer the questions for them. And you know, I don't like to be sarcastic. I think I said in a nice way, what you paid for, you can't talk to those individuals, you know, but it is what it is, you know. So, but again, regardless, you want to acquire the knowledge. I'm not the only game in town, by no means. I'm just saying you got to do that in some form or fashion. You got to know what you're doing in a sense, but better yet, you got to at least sound like you know what you're doing. That's probably more important than anything, a level of confidence, so it can be conveyed over to a seller more so than a buyer. You can feel your way through that because you'll have something that they want. But with a seller, you need to sound very confident, and the only way to really get that, unless you're a supreme BSer, some people with the gift of gab, they can get around that, but it's better just to actually know what you're talking about, and it can be conveyed over no matter what your personality type is. So that comes from educating yourself. All right, now the second thing, after you've actually educated yourself, you're going to have to choose your path based on your resources. And what I mean is basically a budget of money on how you're going to get leads, targeted motivated sellers, whether that's some of the free ways that you can go about it, which I have videos on that, and some of the paid ways. Obviously, I have videos on that. And what I mean by free, it could be as simple as driving for dollars or looking for landlords online, you know, for rent signs or properties that are for rent, Zillow, Craigslist. I'll get into that in a second. And or, you know, some form of paid marketing where you get your phone ring with people calling you. They see your message or receive something with your message. I buy houses, whether it's through banner signs, direct mail, internet, social media, whatever. So you got to choose a path based on your resource, and you have to be realistic. But whatever you do, you're going to have to understand you're going to have to be consistent. But regardless of whatever you do, you're going to have to be consistent with it. So that's only you will know what that is. All right, so from there, once you realize or discover, hey, this is what I can do on a consistent basis based on these resources that I have, then you obviously got to put it into action. All the knowledge, all the planning is worthless if you don't actually put it into action. It is just that simple. There's no magic wand that I wave or anything. I'm no smarter than you are. I take action. Sometimes it's not always good and positive, but I don't know that I can succeed or fail if I don't take action. It's really just that simple, is that you got to take action. All right, so let's get into actual time management. All right, so how much time does it really take to do this? All right, so I'm going to break this down, and then we're just going to have a total tally, which is just a conservative number. It can be a lot less time than this in reality, but I try to under promise, over perform whenever I do anything, especially when I'm offering something to someone that's for, in this case, it's just knowledge. So the first thing you want to do, as I said, is you get a couple things in place. So if you're going to do some marketing, you need to, if you're going to, probably the most important tool that you will have is some phone number. If you're going to do direct mail and or bandit signs. All right, so sideline, most people have a smartphone. So, but if you don't, but most people have a smartphone. Probably watching this right now, video on the smartphone. Sideline is the name of the app, like a football sideline, a basketball sideline, Sideline. That is an app. You can download that on Android and Apple on iPhone. Okay, so Sideline. Now you can also go with Google Voice. That is option. That's an option also. I prefer Sideline, even though I've used Google Voice, and a lot of my numbers are still tied to that. But Sideline gives me a little bit more flexibility. But both work well. Let me just, but both of them are free is the main thing. So, whereas with Sideline, I know on the iPhone, I'm not sure how it works on Android, but I'm assuming it works the same. Whenever the phone rings, you know it's a Sideline call. So you know how to answer the phone, whether it's a number for sellers or if it's a number for buyers or whatever. So, or you don't have to, you can do this. Now, I'm just trying to give you some free methods on an existing phone that you have. You can obviously go out, and cell phones are so cheap now. Go out and buy a prepaid line and a phone. Obviously, they're going to provide a number. Whenever that number rings, you know what it's for. All right, so that's the first thing. So setting up your number for, okay, we're going to go into some paid ways of doing this, just a couple, and we'll go into some free ways of just a couple. All right, but I'm just going to give you some things you could do. Just come up with a total number of hours that you'll spend in it on a part-time basis, assuming that you have a full-time job. And obviously you don't have a job, it's fine also. You can put more time into it, if nothing else. So bandit signs. So a minimum number of bandit signs that you would want to put out is 50. I can normally probably put out 50 in the course of maybe 3 hours, but I'm going to say 4 hours, especially if you're starting out, because some people are a little scared or whatever. But once you get into a rhythm and you know what you're doing, it's obviously important on where you're placing the signs. That's probably more important than anything. But once you get comfortable, know what you're doing, get into a rhythm, it shouldn't take more than 4 hours to put out signs. So that may be over the course of a few days. Normally, I'll do signs on any day, Monday through Sunday. But the best days, in my opinion, are Saturday morning, early Saturday morning. The actual best day is early Sunday morning. All right, so let's go to direct mail. Now, direct mail can literally take an hour if you're going to use one of the paid services, basically buy the list, upload it to a website, and boom, click, 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 within an hour, boom. May take you a little time to set it up the first time, but after that, you're talking about less than an hour per month on that. So but now if you do it the way I do it, and the way I train my students do it, because you're trying to stand out from the crowd as far as other people that are mailing these individuals about their properties and just mail in general. Now, I'd probably dedicate at least 22 hours to do 20 mailings. Right, so you're gonna basically, now, you're only sending a small number, but you may say if you did that on a daily basis, I'm just gonna do direct mail this week. or these first 5 days. So that'll be 100 mailings if you did 20 per day over a 5 day week. You do 7 days, but I'm just gonna say 5 days. So you're looking at about 10 hours. All right. So, but you may only say how I'm only gonna do half of that. So that's gonna be up to you. But for the sake of this video, I'm gonna break that down here at the end. So those are a couple of ways. So the bandit signs, 50 signs, 4 hours. Direct mail, the way I do it, 2 hours for about 20 mailings. Maybe you can spare out a little more or whatever. Then the paid service, you could probably do within an hour for an entire month, period. I think I'm stretching it there. So let's go to some freeways, some online stuff. All right, so online targeting, I recommend targeting properties that are for sale, and what you're targeting are landlords. Because even if you're doing direct mail or bandit signs, a good number of the calls that you'll receive, I don't know what the percentage is, but I'm gonna say it's probably number one as far as the reason why someone will be motivated to sell is because they're tired of being a landlord. So now you can be proactive and actively target those individuals that are trying to rent properties out already. All right, now just because they're still trying to rent doesn't mean that they're not motivated to get out of that or get out of that particular property if nothing else, or any other properties that they may own. So online targeting landlords. So you can do this through Zillow, Craigslist, just to name a couple of sites, and you could have a goal, hey, I'm gonna contact 5 landlords per day, and that'll probably take about an hour. Now, when I say contact, I mean you actually get someone on the phone, or you make contact and you go through your spiel. Hey, is this property still available? Where they say yes or no. You ask them, are they interested in selling? They say yes. You obviously proceed on, collect their information. If they say no, you follow up and say, do you have any other properties that you're interested in selling? They say yes, you collect their information. If they say no, you thank them for their time, let them know if anything changes, give you a call back. All right, so we'll just say 1 hour to do that, just 5 landlords. I'm just setting a goal. Now, you may say I want to do 10 or I only want to do 2. I'm just giving you just some minimums to give you an idea of how you can manage your time. Now, offline and driving for dollars, basically, you would do the same thing, but you would still be targeting landlords, but you'll also be targeting for sale by owners. Now, if a for rent sign is in a yard, what you're looking for is those generic red and white or black and white signs that you can get from Walmart, Lowe's, or Home Depot, hoping that you're dealing with the directly to the actual owner and not a property manager. But you can still ask a property manager, but it's just going to be more likely they're not going to help you because that could be them losing a client or whatever. So your target is actual private owners. Now, for sale by owner, you'll see your generic for sale sign, and normally that's the actual owner of the property and not a realtor sign in the yard. And you're going to deal directly. So that's obviously there. They want to sell, and then sometimes the signs say for sale by owner. So you can say, hey, I'll do that a couple of hours per week. So you may do that on a Saturday or Sunday, or while you're out actually putting out bandit signs, you mix that in with your routes and where you're going to place signs. So that's time management as far as some of the methods that you'll use. Now, another thing is bird dogs. So that just comes down to just simply consistently posting ads on Craigslist, maybe in the real estate for sale section by owner, and also the gigs section of Craigslist, and maybe choosing domestic under that subtitle. So we'll just say 1 hour a week, 4 hours per month, and that's really saying a lot. Because once you get pretty much a foundation of ads that you want to use, you'll just change them up. If you understand Craigslist guidelines, you'll change them up and you'll just post them every maybe 3 days, or if you have a couple accounts, every 2 days. So bird dogs is another option there. Again, we're just basing on time management here. So now you got your phone ringing because you put the things in place, or you're talking to sellers because you're reaching out to them. So talking to sellers and buyers. We're going to discuss sellers first. All right. So when you're dealing with a seller, all right, and the only thing you're going to really do for the most part, you're going to collect their information: name, phone number, address, number of bedrooms and bath, doesn't have heat and air, doesn't have a mortgage, why are they selling, age of the roof. Then asking them the magic question: paying all cash and closing quickly, what's the least amount they will accept? That should only take about 5 minutes on average, because you're going to have some calls that are short, all right, and then some a little long, but 5 minutes on average. Now, if you're doing what you're supposed to do, we'll just say a minimum number, if you're doing what you're supposed to be, is 100 contacts. I say calls, but contacts per month. 150 is really ideal or more, so and that'll increase. Now, if you do less, that's fine. It's just the numbers are going to play out as far as the number of deals you're going to be able to do. So 100 calls times 5 minutes is about 8.3 hours. We'll just say 8.5 hours. Okay, so 150 calls times 5 minutes, if my math is right, equals about 12.5 hours. Oh, then now this is over the course of a month now. So 12.5 hours over the course of a month on 150 contacts/calls. On 100 contacts/calls, 8.3 hours. All right, now you're only going to go see the properties that the price works over the phone. Every now and again, you'll have a seller to convince you to come out and take a look at it, and they won't give you a price over the phone. It's rare that it happens, but every now and again, I'll go look at one in the blind. I don't go out there and negotiate while I'm on the property. Some people do that, and they're probably good at it. I did just a time waster for me, because if they want, and I had to learn this the hard way, the property, the ARV is 70,000, and they say it's worth your time coming out here, blah, blah, blah. When I get out there, the price is 70,000, and I needed at 20,000. It's just rare someone is going to go from 70 to 20. It's just rare. I've had it happen a couple of times, but it's rare. But you don't know if you don't ask. Now, it's up to you if you want to go out to every property, but it's just not enough. If you're doing an effective job of marketing and the number of people are contacting you, it's going to be difficult to manage that much time with a full-time job if you're doing, because you're talking 100 contacts. It just, oh man, I couldn't even imagine that. But you'll learn. You'll be able to make your own decision on that. Is that you really don't need to go out to properties where the price works over the phone. And sometimes they won't give you a price. You have to throw out a price that's ridiculous. Counter. Is that the best you'll counter? If they reject it with how close can you come to that amount? A lot of students have heard me say that. That's what I use, because that's real life. You know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to always, whether they give me the price or I'm making them give me the price, or I'm forced to making an offer, my goal is to get the least amount they will accept, and then I will be able to make a decision based on the information that I gather for the price, ARV or whatever, and repairs, whether it's a deal or not. So the goal is to always get their least amount, whatever that is, and I don't know if it's a deal or not. All right, so now dealing with buyers. Now the buyers are going to come in a couple of ways as for communication. You're going to have buyers that they're going to call you, and you're going to have buyers that text you. Any ad that I put out there, call or text. I'll probably say I'll get more text messages than actual calls when I market properties. Okay, so you're talking 20 or 30 seconds, but I'm just going to assume calls and just give you some minimums. So say you get 10 calls and they're 5 minutes with buyers. We're talking about 1 hour. All right, and that's three deals a month. You do the math on that. You would just say 4 hours, total dealing with buyers, and that's really saying a lot. And so that's saying a lot. So again, a lot of times your communications with buyers is going to be through text messaging. So you're talking about just seconds that you'll reply back and forth with someone. All right, now after you've have a property, you have it under contract. Well, I'm sorry, not have it under contract, but these are properties that have made the cut as far as price. It's worth you going out and taking a look. So now here's another part of your time is going to look at those few properties. So we'll say anywhere from really about 5 to 7. Well, we'll say 5 to 10 properties. We'll just average it at seven properties. All right, over the course of a month. All right. Now, when I go out, and I strongly encourage my students to do this, and non-students, because I have videos on it. Use technology, man. Everybody has a smartphone. If you don't have one, you need to get one. Go out. Don't waste your time having to go back out again if not necessary. Video the property and learn how to properly video the property. Most people, they will hold their phone like this when they're videoing, and it really needs to be held like this for YouTube, because that's where you're going to send the video. And what this does is it saves time when you can, like I said, a lot of times buyers will contact you by text. You just text them a link back to the property, and if they still want to see it after viewing the video and they know what your price is, a lot of times you're going to have a deal, and it saves everybody time, mainly you, obviously the buyer. And again, with my students, it helps me to see what they're seeing also. But you need to learn how to video, not like this. Most people do it like this because you can do it on Instagram. It shows at least one, but it won't show well on YouTube. You ever watch a YouTube video, you see it like this, you have a lot of black space and just video in the middle. But if you hold it horizontal like we watch TV and like we watch YouTube, the entire video space will be filled. Now, don't wait till you get out there to try to figure that out. Figure out how your phone works and how you upload the videos on YouTube and how they will look on YouTube after you. Don't wait till you get out there to try to figure that out. Okay, so now over the course of, just get back to time management, over the course of a month, we'll just say about 2 hours per week. So we're talking about 14 hours. I still think that's a lot, but I'm just trying to be conservative here. I'm looking at 7 houses, just using that as a number. All right, showing properties to buyers. Now, that's going to all depend. Again, the YouTube video is going to help save time. And then YouTube is your friend number 1. And then a lockbox is your friend number 2. Sometimes sellers will not allow you to place a lockbox on the property. Sometimes the property is occupied, so that may not be an option. So whenever the property is occupied and or the seller won't give you a key and you have to meet over there each time a buyer is going to look, then you just have to manage that time, because you don't want the buyer and the seller to be there without you. You just don't want that to happen. That's one of the value, what makes the YouTube video valuable, is because they know what they're going to see, and so that'll eliminate some buyers that will have no interest in it because of the way the street looks, the condition of the property, and so on, versus the ones that say, hey, yeah, I want to see it. All right, now from there, you'll just get into letting them know that how much flexibility you have on price and how fast do they normally close. So, you want to discover that before you get out there. Now, actual closings, assuming that we'll just say out of doing it part-time that you can do 3 closings per month. All right, that should only take you 3 to 5 hours of your actual time, and that's travel and everything if it's within your market. So that's 3 to 5 hours per month is what I'm saying total with all 3 closings. So now that may mean 15 grand, 20 grand, 25 grand or whatever. So you'll say, is that worth my time? All right, now, so let's break it down. So bandit signs, 4 hours per week, 16 hours per month. Direct mail, 2 hours per week, 8 hours per month. If you're doing a paid service, you're only talking about probably about 1 hour per month. All right. 5 hours per week on doing online. That's targeted landlord. That's 20 hours per month. Offline, driving for dollars. That's 2 hours per week, 8 hours per month. And then bird dogs, 4 hours per month. Dealing with actual sellers over the phone, we're talking 2 hours per week, around 8.5 hours per month, a little over 2 hours per week. So we'll just say we're going to keep it at 2. And then buyer calls, 1 hour per week, 4 hours per month, because a lot of times that's going to be text messages that I mentioned. And then the actual viewing, going out, viewing the property, uploading to YouTube, 2 hours per week, 8 hours per month. 5 closings, we'll just say 3, as I said, 3 to 5 hours per month. We're just going to use the number 5. And then, so that's a total of 27 hours per week, right? I mean, per month. 20, I'm sorry, back up. As a total of 27 hours per week. Now, that's if you're doing all of that, because you may only be doing direct mail and may not be doing bandit signs. And you may be doing just online free stuff and not doing direct mail or bandit signs because you don't have the money. So, but I'm encompassing everything, and that's 27 hours per week, doing just everything. So most people are just not going to do all of them at once. It just normally don't work that way. Now, if you got great management skills as far as your time, then yeah, you can definitely do that, and I would encourage that. So 27 hours per week. So over the course of a 5-day week, obviously that's 4 or 5 hours a day. Well, about 5 hours, a little over 5 hours a day. Over the course of a week, you're talking about what, 4 hours, around 4 hours per day average. You know, some days you'll put more into it or whatever. So again, everybody's not going to move at the same pace. So just keep that in mind, obviously. But this is how you can do this part-time to fire your boss full-time. And the 4-figure, 5-figure checks that you could put in your pocket in most markets, it wouldn't take long if you're consistent and true to what you have available as far as time and resources. I don't have time to do that. Some people say that's 28 hours a week. That's a lot. Okay, all right. Now, most people, and we got to be real with ourselves, you have stuff that you like to do for entertainment. If it's TV, if it's online or whatever, you're going to have to make sacrifices somewhere. You just are. Most people, 168, if I'm right, 168 hours in a week, most people just have time, man. They just do. You know, you just have to be real with yourself and make it happen and take action. So again, wholesaling, wholesale houses, part-time to fire your full-time boss. I hope this video helped. Remember, subscribe to the channel. Turn on the notifications so whenever I upload new videos, you will be alerted. Whenever I go live on YouTube, you will be alerted. And don't forget about the Flippinars on Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern. Flippinar.com is where you can access those. And we go live here on YouTube. Won't be on any meeting anymore. It'll be straight here on YouTube as long as the technology holds up. So again, wholesale houses part-time, fire your full-time boss. Thanks, and I will see you on the flip side.